Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Tonight's guest is someone that is a regular to our show. Sports Dudes is his show, and the guest's name is James Celestin. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. All right. So lately I've been struggling with my Fab Five in the NFL, and I don't think I've had a winning week in a couple of weeks. I don't think I've had a 4-1 all year, which is not ideal. I've had a couple of 3-2s. I have not had a 5-0 all year. So I'm thinking, okay, let's hit up a couple of good guests of mine and see if they could help out a little bit. So, I have a couple picks written down that I am considering making. The first one, James, get ready for it. You're gonna laugh at me.
Okay.
My first pick that I'm considering right out of the gate is the New England Patriots getting 6 points at home against Brandon Staley, Justin Herbert, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, the Chargers are missing a lot of people due to injury, and we all know, despite the bad season the Patriots are having, Bill Belichick is still a better coach than Brandon Staley. Oh no, now it's down to 5.5, but still, I still think the Patriots can cover the spread. Do you agree with that pick or disagree?
See, before it dropped, I would have said you're not as crazy as it sounds. But now that since the spread dropped to 5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bailey Zappi is starting. If memory serves me correctly, I believe he's starting. I don't know. I guess I still think the Chargers are going to win, but I think the Patriots can cover. So I think you should probably take that for this reason only. The Chargers are going to charger it somehow, some way.
That's right.
You know how we always say same old Jets, same old Mets, same old Chargers.
Yup.
Chargers, when in doubt, Chargers will always find a way to mess it up. So I think the Chargers will win, but I believe the Patriots will cover.
Okay, yeah, I think the Patriots probably cover the number. Even if it's Zappy, I think that it should be more like 3.5. If it was Mac Jones, I'd say maybe 2.5. Or maybe the Patriots could be closer to a pick'em with Mac Jones. Not that Zappy's of that big of a drop-off. But I don't know the injury status of a couple of other guys on New England, so maybe that might spook me off.
Just,
and the Patriots, by the way, what's that?
Remember, the Patriots were 4.5-point favorites against the Giants. Remember that.
3.5.
3.5, actually.
Yep.
Which makes it worse. Let that sink in.
Yup, they were 3.5-point favorites over the Giants. And listen, I thought the Patriots should have been favored against the Giants too, because the whole Tommy DeVito starting thing. But I would have bet the Giants plus 3.5, but I stayed away because I was scared to bet on the Giants, so I stayed away last week. But I think New England's in a good spot here. And by the way, I took them a couple weeks ago at home against the Bills to cover, but they ended up winning outright.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I bet on them plus, I believe it was 8.5. And do you listen to John Jastrzemski on the Ringer?
I love John. I love
JJ. Yeah, JJ also bet New England that same weekend. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. And then New England ended up winning outright. So I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say JJ when him and Joe Beningo do the picks tonight. Or that's probably already dropped. I haven't listened to that. I think he'll probably be on New England as well. I could totally see JJ being on them.
I totally see it too. It's just as bad as the Patriots have been. They're not Bill Belichick. Like Bill Belichick is still a far superior coach than Staley. So
absolutely.
At least going.
Yes, and Brian Daboll's a much better coach than Brandon Staley too, and Daboll just beat Belichick. So
But before you get to your next pick, I just want to put for the record that Brian Daboll has made Tommy DeVito more of a competent backup than whatever it is Brandon Staley is doing with Justin Herbert. So I just want to let you know that Brian Daboll is the guy for the job, because look what he's doing with an undrafted rookie out of, Syracuse, local kid, and he's won 2 starts. So just let you know that Brian Dable knows how to develop quarterback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's an excellent point. And it took a couple weeks for DeVito to get going. Maybe the Giants could be involved in picks next weekend because they have a bye this week. But I have no idea what the line is for that Green Bay game next week.
Yeah, and it's a Monday night too, so, just remember that.
Yeah, and it stayed in Monday night because the Giants won 2 in a row. I feel like if the Giants lost one of those games, it would have been out of prime time.
They were going to flex the Giants for the Texans-Jets, but because the Jets have lost so much skizzle and the whole, Zach Wilson thing went up the air, and I know how much everyone loves C.J. Stroud, but I think if the Giants won 2 in a row and technically still in the playoff picture, that kind of tells you how bad the NFC is.
Yup.
Let that sink in. It doesn't tell you how good the Giants is. It just tells you how bad the conference is as a whole.
Oh, absolutely. But you still got to give Dayball credit, though.
Absolutely. They play for him. they haven't thrown the season. I'm giving Dayball tons of credit. That is why, before I was scared, I'm like, oh, my Mara, please don't fire Dayball. It's not his fault. But after seeing going 2 in a row and the players compete for him, that more than assures me that Dable's not going anywhere, and neither is Joe Shane, and they're the right guys for the job. So
absolutely.
That kind of puts my fears to rest, because you know how crazy John Mara can get.
Yes, absolutely agree with you. Okay, the next pick on the board here that I am considering is the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 5.5 at home against the Cardinals. Kyler Murray back. It's still at 5.5, so that's good. Do you endorse that pick, or would you go with Arizona?
I endorse it. Arizona, listen. I know the Cardinals, they play hard for Gannon, but let's be honest, the Steelers defense is far superior. They just released Zach Ertz, so he's gone. So Kyler doesn't have a lot of weapons to throw to. The Cardinals are pretty much done. They're probably waiting to likely get Marvin Harrison Jr. So, the season's over for the Cardinals. They're done. The Steelers, despite the Deontay Johnson drama, are still the better team than the Cardinals. They're going to cover. That you shouldn't sweat that game. Steelers got this in the bag.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that Steeler pick, too. I think that the Deontay stuff kind of blew over. Pickens looked good. The Matt Canada, again, a coordinator or coach gets fired and the unit looks better kind of deal. So I kind of think the Steelers are going to win by double digits in that game.
Yeah, I agree. So that's one of those picks. That's one of those picks where you can just kick back, relax. You don't have to worry. All you got to do is just make sure that it's good by halftime, and, everything is all set and go. You're good with the Steelers.
All righty. Next up, I don't know if I'm going to do this one, but I wouldn't mind doing it only because the number's so high. And I think this team that I might bet against is absolutely due for a letdown. Let's hope John Jastrzemski does not listen to this, but I think the Commanders might cover 9.5 against the Dolphins.
See, I've been going back and forth with this one because, on one hand, the Commanders are awful. They are awful. On the other hand, the Dolphins, yes, they scored 34 points against the Jets, but they didn't look that impressive against the Jets. They had 3 turnovers. If the Jets had a seventh of an offense, I think the Dolphins could have been had. I don't feel confident in betting the Commanders because they could cover, but then again, I don't know how much they're playing for right now because the Commander season is toast. They're terrible. They gave up 45 to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I know the Dolphins are pretty good against under 500 teams. Their defense is nowhere near as good as the Jets. They are due for a letdown, but the number is just so high. I think I'd stay away from that game.
Okay. I might stay away too, but we'll see come tomorrow when the Fab 5 segment comes out at the end of the podcast. And the last pick I want you to talk me into or out of is Sunday night. The Packers as a 6-point home underdog against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's still sitting there at 6. I like how Jordan Love is playing, and I think the Packers kind of got some momentum, and that And let's be honest, if they were out of the playoff race, maybe the Giant game gets flexed out too because the Packers got themselves back in it too. That's another reason why that game stayed at Monday Night Football.
I'm going to take it a step further. I think the Packers went outright.
Oh, I love it.
I'm loving how the Packers look. I mean, listen. I understand. Just like how you don't get against Brady, you don't get against Mahomes. I get it. He's Mahomes. We all know how good Mahomes is. But the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs. The receivers are not that good. It's just Travis. Pretty much, you take away Travis Kelce. The offense is pretty much not that good. The Packers are really playing really exceptionally well. They just beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, a fraudulent Lions team, true, but still. I think the Packers not only cover, they're going to win outright. That's one of my upsets. I got the Packers beating the Chiefs. I think Jordan Love is playing exceptionally well. I know the Chiefs' defense is good, but I think the way that, Christian Watson's been playing, Romeo Dobbs has been playing, Breed has been playing, they got that tight end kid that's pretty good, and the Packers' defense is pretty underrated. So I think I would take the Packers plus the 6, and I take them outright.
All right, the money line is plus 215. The New England Patriots are also plus 215 against the Chargers, just an FYI there. So they have the same money line, but the Packers line sort of spreads at 6. So, all right, so what's your favorite pick of the 4 I sent you?
Packers.
Packers
are definitely. I would hop all over the Packers.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's probably going to be in Fab 5, barring like some random injury reports on defense for Green Bay. Then that could end up becoming a stay away, but I'm leaning on putting Green Bay in the Fab 5. And I had them as my underdog outright pick of the week a couple weeks ago against the Chargers, and it came through. They were 3.5-point home underdogs, and I took Green Bay on the money line outright, and they beat the Chargers. So Green Bay's done good to me so far this season.
Green Bay has, listen, I thought that Green Bay was going to struggle. They don't have Rodgers, but they have been playing really well lately. I think Green Bay is going to win outright. Out of all the picks you sent me, Green Bay is one of my absolute favorites. I just love how the Packers are playing.
I like how the Packers are playing too. And I bet against them on Thanksgiving with the Lions, and I was just like, oh my God, you're kidding me, right? And then I called out the Lions on social, and I think the Lions are fraudulent, as you know. And the Packers have totally gained my respect after that game. They deserve all the credit in the world. And Matt LaFleur is somebody I was down on, and I got to give him credit.
I agree. Like, I agree because you gotta understand about the Packers. Like, I think how you have teams that just come together and they start off really, really slow. I think the Packers are one of those teams where I think they might have found something in Love. They might have found something in Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So I'm with it.
I'm totally with it too, and they're missing Bakhtiari, and that's what makes that even more impressive.
Oh, absolutely! Like that to me is a shocker. Like how they miss Bakhtiari and they're still playing that well. That should tell you how really good the Packers are.
Yeah, they still have a lot of talent on that team. They're just a second half team, and they got off to a slow start. Now Love's picking it up, so that is pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see that game on Sunday night. Alrighty, these next thing I did not tell you about. It's a little game called Buy or Sell. I picked 2 topics of each of the 4 sports that we follow. I thought about throwing college football and college basketball in there as well, but let's just stick it to 8 topics. 2 NFL, 2 NHL, 2 NBA, and 2 Major League Baseball. We'll start with the NFL because we kicked off the show with the NFL. Buy or sell. The MVP favorite right now is Jalen Hurts.
Sell.
Oh, wow. Give me the case.
I like Jalen Hurts. Don't get me wrong. I think he's great, but I'm not really a believer on Jalen Hurts. I think the MVP right now, it should go to Brock Purdy.
Oh, wow. Okay. I respect that.
I'm going with Brock Purdy. Like, Jalen Hurts, great, don't get me wrong, but he struggled. He struggled in first half the last few games. I'm not really sold on him. He's a great quarterback. Great quarterback. I do believe he's a leading candidate, but I think I would put Purdy just ahead. Just a smidge.
Okay.
Over. Just my opinion. Just a smidge.
Okay, yeah. Brock Purdy, I'm a big Brock Purdy fan, and I think that he got too much criticism when the 49ers were on their losing streak earlier in the year, and give him credit for turning it around and helping the team turn around. Well, that team got healthy when they killed Jacksonville and then won a few in a row, so I like that Purdy call. All right, the next buy or sell is NFL. The Denver Broncos will make the playoffs in the AFC.
Bye. And I'm on the let Russ cook train, even though Russ ain't cooking. The Denver Broncos, do you know that over the last, 6 weeks, the Denver Broncos are one of the tops in the NFL in defense?
I know, their defense turned around.
After giving up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins, their defense has been unbelievable. I love the way Russell Wilson has been playing. He's slowly quieting the haters, slowly. And I believe that, the saying less is more. I think Russ is doing a fantastic job of just, I guess managing the game is what you could say. But he's playing exceptional football. So I do believe that they're going to get the 7th seed, and I believe that the Denver Broncos will make the playoffs. And I think that they won't ever justify the contract, because in order to justify the contract, you gotta win the Super Bowl to justify it. So I don't think that contract will ever get justified, but I think that they'll make the playoffs for sure. Yes.
I think they can make the 6th seed. I think they could be 6th. I mean, I don't think they're going to get the 5, but I think 6 is doable. The AFC West is a little bit weaker. I mean, the Raiders are playing a little better with Pierce, but the Chargers are a little bit of a wild card, as we talked about earlier. But I think the Broncos can finish 2nd in that division and get the 6th seed.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand, with the Broncos, I don't know what clicked, but they just started to play outstanding football. And I know Cortland Sutton went on IG and said, everyone apologized for Russell Wilson. Let me be the first to say I will not apologize to Russell Wilson, because he played like garbage last year. He absolutely deserves to get criticized. But he has been playing exceptional football, so I will also give credit where credit is due to Mr. Russell Wilson.
Absolutely. I'm the same way as you are. Give credit to when credit's due, and you got to criticize when you got to criticize. I'm the same way when evaluating athletes. Two good minds think alike, and that's why I always have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
You're one of my favorites. You know that. Okay, next is hockey. We're going to go local flavor for hockey right now. All right, the New York Rangers, my favorite hockey team. They're off to a great start. You do not like the Rangers. That's the one team, or the one sport we do not have the same favorite team in. Do you think the New York Rangers are a Stanley Cup contender? Buy or sell?
I am absolutely buying it. And automatic. I'm absolutely buying it. And the reason that I'm buying it is because Peter Laviolette, and I said this on social, when the Rangers hired Peter Laviolette, I said to a few Rangers fans, I said, he's going to change life. Trust me. He used to coach the New York Islanders when the Islanders were in their doldrums. For 4 straight years, he led the Islanders to the postseason. Peter Laviolette can coach. He's a Stanley Cup champion. He's taken teams to the Stanley Cup Finals. Laviolette is a great coach for this specific team. Look at Alexei Lafreniere this year compared to last year. That's all you need to know is look at Alexei Lafreniere, look at Capo, look at all of the people that you had last year and now. I think the Rangers not only are Stanley Cup favorite, I'm going to take it a step further. You know how New York sports, that we haven't had a champion in the 4 major sports. Sorry, NYCFC. We haven't had a champion in the 4 major sports since the New York Giants in 2012. Yep. I think the Rangers, unless the Yankees get Juan Soto, But yet, I believe that the Rangers are going to be the team that ends the New York championship drought. Because I think the Rangers just need to make at least one more trade to shore up their defense. I do love the way that Adam Fox is playing now that he's back. Keandre Miller's playing exceptionally well. I know the loss of Hedel is a loss, but I do believe that he'll come back. Luckily, Capo Caco didn't suffer a season-ending injury, so you caught a break there.
Yep.
But I think that the Rangers not only are Stanley Cup favorites, I believe that if they make the right move and they continue playing this well, and Igor has a bounce-like year, maybe not the Vezina Cup winner that he was a few years ago, but close to it because he set the bar extremely high, I think the Rangers will win the Cup.
I think the Rangers are most likely to break the New York sports drought as well. I mean, we'll get to the Yankees a little bit later in the show. That's a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm with you. I think the Rangers are the most likely team to do it, but I would not have said that over the summer. I would have guessed the Knicks, honestly, because of the possibility of them trading for a star, which isn't inconceivable, but I'll be honest, I undersold the Rangers, and I undersold the La Villette impact a little bit. So you're absolutely right. I think the Rangers are most likely to end the drought. Okay, we're staying local on the next one. The New Jersey Devils are off to a slow start. And they, I think where things stand right now, are not in the postseason spot. So buy or sell, the New Jersey Devils will miss the postseason.
Repeat the question, I didn't hear you.
The New Jersey Devils, buy or sell, will miss the postseason.
I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell that because I do believe that the talent in the New Jersey Devils is pretty good. The goaltending is a problem. The defense is a problem. They don't seem to score a lot of 5-on-5 goals. I still think the Devils have time to turn this ship around. I know it's starting to, the old saying, it's starting to get late early.
Yep.
I get that, but there's too much talent on this Devils team for me to think that they're going to miss the playoffs. I think just on talent alone is enough for me to say, you know what, they can't make the playoffs, listen, their goaltending is horrible. Their defense is atrocious. And the one thing about the Devils that you start to notice, if you play physical with the Devils, they will not respond back. All that speed that the Devils had, with Nico Hischier and the Hughes brothers, and all the speed that they have, you hit them in the mouth, they're not going to be the same team. So as great as the Devils, as poorly as the Devils have been playing, I'm not going to write them off just yet. I'm not going to write their obituary just yet.
I'm also selling that as well. I think that Jack Hughes coming back from the injury, I think that'll kind of galvanize them a little bit once he starts get going. Maybe the goalie tending should be a little better. Maybe they trade for somebody. But you're right, there's too much talent there, and they could be a wild card. And I picked the Devils to win the division before the year. I'm obviously not going to be right there. It looks like it's probably going to be the Rangers.
You know what's funny? You know who I picked before to start the season? You're going to be surprised. I actually picked the Rangers to win the division.
Good for you.
The season started right before. And listen, and I was doing I do my hockey prediction before the season started, and I always pick I picked the Islanders to miss the postseason, and no one is as critical as the Islanders as I am. And I'm also, as much as I'm an Islander fan, I'm also a realistic fan. And I'm right now proven to be right because they're not that good. And I picked the Rangers. I picked the Rangers to make the postseason. I picked the Rangers to make the Eastern Conference Finals. However, I picked them to go that far because I'm a big fan of Peter Laviolette. I love this man. He just knows. And so I'm right now, Madison. I'm probably to be right.
Yeah, so I've just looked at my preseason predictions for hockey. I had the Islanders 5th in the Metro and out of the postseason. I had the Pittsburgh Penguins in instead of them, but the Penguins might not make it. I had Buffalo in. I thought Boston was going to regress. I was probably wrong about Boston. It's kind of like the Rangers in a way, except I had the Rangers in the postseason. I thought the Metro was a little overrated before the year, but I was obviously wrong about that. I just felt that way because I just didn't think the Rangers. I was just had Yankees vibes with them because of how the Devils series ended last season, and I thought there was a lot of like Yankee parallels going into the year, but I obviously was wrong, and I'm glad to be wrong about the Rangers.
Listen, I actually, like, if y'all didn't hire Laviolette, I was going to have the Rangers actually missing the postseason myself. But when you hired Laviolette, it kind of just like, all right, because no one is a bigger Laviolette fan than me.
Yep.
I was so upset when the Islanders let him go. I was so upset because they didn't end up having a better coach until Trotz came along. I was so heartbroken because Laviolette is an exceptional coach, and he's the right coach for this team. For this specific team, he is the right coach. And I'm proven to be right now. So I think I know what I'm talking about.
I think you know what you're talking about, too. And I keep forgetting that he was the Islander coach. That was so long ago.
That tells you how long. He was an Islanders coach before he went to Carolina and Pittsburgh.
Yep, that's what's crazy. And let's move on to the NBA. 2 Western Conference buy or sells here. Let's start with the team that I thought was going to be good this year, but I think they're better than I expected them to be, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are they an NBA Finals contender? Buy or sell?
I am selling that. I don't believe in them. I think once the postseason starts, Rudy Gobert is going to be a liability. I love Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Edwards, not Anthony Davis. Anthony Edwards is a fantastic player. I'm not a fan of Karl Anthony Towns. Mm-hmm. I don't like him. I don't like him because when the postseason comes, he doesn't really show up. And if you saw what happened with the whole Draymond Green fight, he didn't really do much. He's a very soft player, and I'm not a big Draymond Green guy. But I do believe that, as far as the Timberwolves, I don't think they're a finals team. I believe they're a very good team. I believe they're a team that could probably go to the second round, but finals, I'm selling that.
Yeah, I'm going to sell too. I was leaning by for a while solely because of Ant-Man, and I'm a big Ant-Man fan, but you're right. Towns and Gobert is an awkward fit, and Gobert, bad contract, disappears in the playoffs, and then you know how I feel about Karl Anthony Towns too. So yeah, I'm a seller on the Timberwolves as well. Although I'm a buyer if it comes to top 3 record in the Western Conference. I'll put it that way.
They will be a top 3 seed, and they'll probably win a round, and that's as far as I'll go.
They might win a round. We'll see who's at the 6th seed. If it's the Lakers as the 6th seed, they're not winning. They're not beating LeBron.
I'll pick the Lakers before I pick the Timberwolves.
Me too. And maybe even Golden State, depending on that situation.
Golden State is the wild card for me, but if they're playing a team like, say, Dallas, then I'll pick the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves have too much size and they'll beat them up. But if it's like the Lakers or Golden State, I'm picking them over the Timberwolves. And something to keep an eye on. They are going to sign Anthony Edwards because he's the better star, but Gobert and Towns, one of those two is going to get traded. Just keep an eye on that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Within the next 9 months. If it's not in February, it's going to be next year at the draft.
Absolutely.
All right, the other NBA one for you. We'll stick it into the Western Conference. The Clippers just traded for James Harden. That's obviously not gone well so far, and I did not think that was going to go well. I think the fall guy is going to be Russell Westbrook. So buy or sell, Russell Westbrook will be traded for the 2nd year in a row.
I want to say sell because who wants Russell Westbrook? Listen, Russell Westbrook, is a Hall of Famer, good guy, all that good stuff. But Russell Westbrook's game, he's not a good outside shooter. He's not a good free throw shooter. He's not a good three-point shooter. Yeah, he'll play defense, but he turns the ball over at least 9 times a game. No, I'm good. I don't think listen, I think if if you're gonna trade for Russell Westbrook, and plus Russell Westbrook does have an attitude, so you're gonna have to like keep that in mind if you're trading for a guy like a Westbrook. So I'll have to sell it because tell me the team that's gonna trade for him. Tell me.
All right, well, this is a disagreement I'm going to buy. I think they do trade him. I mean, I feel like I asked myself the same question a year ago when he was on the Lakers, and then the Jazz acquired him and then bought him out, and the Clippers got him. I have a team for you, the Brooklyn Nets.
Why? They'll buy him out.
They might buy him out, but...
They will. It's true. I don't mean to joke, but it's true. They'll buy him out.
What if they don't want Dinwiddie? What if the Clippers want Dinwiddie? Maybe it's some deal. It's like Westbrook to Brooklyn, and then there's some other pieces, and there's a third team involved or something. I don't know. Brooklyn, maybe the Raptors. I mean, they never replaced Fred VanVleet.
Oh, they really miss Fred VanVleet. I don't understand why they didn't just keep him. They're gonna miss VanVleet. I like VanVleet. I had no idea why they just I had no idea why that they just didn't resign him. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe I think unless it's a team that absolutely doesn't mind Westbrook, but knows that he's not going to be in the starting lineup. And plus, it's a shame because Westbrook was playing really well in LA. It was no pressure. He was still home. He was still home in LA without dealing with the LA pressure. He was playing really well, but I mean, that team, Madison, that team's going to get broken up soon because they're not going to win anything with the way that team's presently constructed.
I won't be shocked if that team's broken up at the 2024 NBA draft. Like, that's a hot take for you. I think that one of those big three, I'm not even counting Westbrook, I won't be shocked if it's Kawhi or Paul George or even Harden again. I mean, I won't be shocked. I mean, I know they're moving to a new arena, but I think that team may blow up. I mean, what if Ballmer says that he wants to get another random star? Like, what if, I don't know, would New Orleans trade Zion for Paul George if there was other things involved? If Paul George is in a package? I'm trying to think of other, scenarios of where, somebody, there's a lot of big names involved and then somebody becomes the new Clipper star.
Would Zion want to play with the Clippers? It's not the Lakers. If he was Zion wants a big market. Clippers are not exactly a big market. I mean, it's LA, but it's LA adjacent, if we're being honest.
Right, it's like the Chargers.
Yeah, you're in LA, but are you really in LA? It's like the Nets. You're in New York, but are you really in New York?
Kind of, but Brooklyn, I feel like the Nets were more attractive than the Clippers at one point. Because Durant ended up signing there.
I feel like Brooklyn's more attractive because it's still New York, but it's not the Knicks. It's New York, it's New York, but you don't have that New York Knicks pressure. And that pressure is real when you play for the Knicks. It's real. Yeah,
the pressure is absolutely real. And speaking of pressure, a team that we root for is under pressure in the offseason to land some big names, and that is the New York Yankees. I mentioned the Yankees a couple minutes ago. We were talking about the Rangers. All right, so buy or sell, the New York Yankees will land two of the following three players. Juan Soto, Cody Bellinger, and Yoshishino Yamamoto.
Sell.
Oh!
I think they land one of the three.
Oh, and please tell me the one you think is Soto.
It is Soto.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I think Bellinger is going to be. I don't think Yankees are going to get Bellinger. I don't want Bellinger.
I don't blame you.
I think I think Bellinger would be a terrible, terrible idea. Especially since he wants a 6-year contract. I'm sorry. He had a nice year with the Cubs. He parlayed that into a nice payday for him. Good for him. Ain't blaming him, but I think it's going to be Soto. I think the Mets are going to end up with the Japanese pitcher. I think the Mets are going to overpay, and Steve Cohen's going to blow it out the water. I think the Yankees will end up getting Soto, and because since Soto's not going to negotiate a contract, it kind of helps the Yankees out because now the Yankees don't have to give up a Dominguez or Volpe. Not that they were ever going to go give them up anyway. I could see a trade that involves something along the lines of either a Clark Schmidt / Michael King, throw in Peraza, throw in a few other like pitching prospects because the Padres want pitching and pitching badly. So throw in one of those, and I think you get a deal done. You don't have to give up a lot because when Boris says that Soto's not going to sign an extension this season, he's going to ride it out. Then you know what? Then you're kind of in the driver's seat because the Padres won't get as much as they thought that they would. So I think they're only going to get Soto. I think they'll probably get. I think there's another Japanese pitcher that's posted. I think they'll probably end up with that pitcher instead.
Okay.
And I think I think Bellinger. I think Bellinger will probably sign with the Giants.
I think that Bellinger signs with either the Giants or the Cubs, and I'm mixed on Bellinger. I'm not going to be upset if they sign him, but I won't be upset if they don't sign him. He has a lot of Ellsbury potential, in my opinion. Bobby Malone is like the only person that wants the Yankees to sign Bellinger, like for real.
I'm good. I'm good off that.
And you know who that is, right? And we call him Bobby Cashman.
I know who Bobby is. Bobby's great, but Bobby's great. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want Bellinger because Bellinger gives me Jacoby Ellsbury vibes, and you and I both know how that turned out. I think they will end up getting Soto. I think the Yankees know they have to get Soto. This kind of reminds me of the Garrett Cole situation.
Interesting.
If you kind of think about it. I'm getting Garrett Cole vibes because the Yankees are under immense pressure to have a good offseason because they know, and Cashman knows that if you don't have a good offseason, there's going to be repercussions. So I think the Yankees have to get Soto and will because they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. So I think they'll end up getting Soto.
I think they get Soto, and I disagree with you because I do think they're going to land Yoshinobu Yamamoto because of the... I think they land them because apparently, Andy Martino is somebody that I have been critical of over the years, but he's been very good on some Yankee things. He was all over Garrett Cole. He's all over Soto now. And he was the one saying that the Yankees have held on to 18 for him, apparently. So, I can see Hal and Cashman beating out Cohen for him. And guess what? I think the Mets are going to end up trading for, like, Corbin Burns or Shane Bieber or Dylan Cease instead of signing Yamamoto. That's my guess. One of those guys goes to the Mets, and the Yankees sign Yamamoto. And they trade for Juan Soto, and Cody Bellinger goes elsewhere, and then I get my dream off season.
And also, I think the Reds are going to get Glass now, and I think the Giants might get a Rosarania because you read the reports about Rosarania.
That's a name I've not heard yet. Holy crap!
Yeah.
So
there have been reports out of Tampa that the Rays are looking to trade Randy Rosarania, which is baffling because you know how he always kills the Yankees. So which is baffling that they want to trade not only him, but Tyler Glass now. Now, we all know the Rays. They'll produce hitters. They always do. That's who the Rays are. But to trade Glass now and the Rosarania is a bit perplexing. But if there's any team I try not to question, it's the Tampa Bay Rays because they are literally the smartest guys in the league.
I agree with you, but I think they would be making a mistake to trade Arozarena because I enjoyed watching him play. I know he killed the Yankees in the COVID playoffs, but when they played Houston and when they were in the World Series against the Dodgers, I actually enjoyed watching him play. So I think the Rays are going to be making a mistake if they trade him. I would keep him as a building block for them. And that's a team that's already in trouble because obviously McClanahan out next year. The Wander Franco situation, let's not go there. But that's a team that's in trouble. They're going to finish 4th or 5th next year, regardless of what they do.
Oh yeah, especially because the Orioles are going to be very good for a decent while. I think if the Yankees end up getting Soto and they get Yamamoto, I think the Yankees are going to be in contention with with Baltimore. I have a sleeper team. I think the Rangers are going to go get Ohtani. I think Ohtani ends up going to the Texas Rangers.
Wow.
That's a sleeper team. I know the Dodgers. Dodgers are the sexy pick. I get it, but I think I think the Rangers could be a sleeper team that could end up getting him.
That would be crazy. And that was my last buy or sell. So I guess you're selling Shohei Ohtani signs with the Dodgers. Guess what? I'm also selling the Shohei Ohtani signs with the Dodgers. Guess where I have him signing? And it's not the Rangers.
Where?
The Chicago Cubs. Go Cubs, go.
Wow.
That's where Shohei's going. Don't undersell them.
You know what's funny, Madison? I did a Pac 5 of where top 5 teams that Ohtani could end up signing with, and the Cubs were number 2 behind the Texas Rangers.
I love the Cubs for him.
I was. It's funny. I'm glad I'm not the only one. People laughed at me when I said, the Cubs, but listen, man, the Cubs are a big market. Chicago loves them some Cubbies. They love the Cubs. They love the Cubs more than they love the Bears. And they love the Bears.
I think the Cubs, if they sign Ohtani, that's a World Series contender potentially next year if they sign him.
Yes.
And obviously they hired Counsell. Do not underestimate the connection with Seiya Suzuki, the outfielder on the Cubs.
Yes, that is true. Don't we cannot undersell that. We can't undersell that. That's something to. That's a really good nugget. A really good nugget. We know. It's funny. If you understand, Japanese players have a really good connection with each other. So that's something not to undersell.
Yes, do not undersell that. Just throwing it out there.
I have a quick buy or sell for you before you get on out of here.
Tell me.
Buy or sell, and this involves our beloved New York Giants. So let's just say the Giants end up with a top 5 pick.
Okay.
Buy or sell, the following 4 players will be a Giant: Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or Michael Penix. Buy or sell, one of those 4 will end up a Giant.
Buy, and I really, really hope it's Jaden Daniels. I love Jaden Daniels.
I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan myself. I am buying that as well because this is assuming the Giants are in the top 5. Or
what if they trade up?
The top 5.
They could trade up.
Joe Shane has proved. Remember, he traded up with the Jaguars to get Deontay Banks, and that's been proven to be a really, really, really good idea.
Yep.
I think Joe Shane has proven that if he wants a guy, he'll go get the guy.
Yeah, and he was also in the room when the Bills traded up for Josh Allen.
Yeah, the Giants also traded up twice. Remember, they traded up to get Jalen Hyatt, and now Jalen Hyatt's starting to show why he could be a sleeper. So yes, that is a good point. The Giants could also trade up because the Giants have proven under Joe Shane, if they want a guy, they go get the guy.
Yep, but if it's not one of those 4 quarterbacks, then I could see it being potentially Marvin Harrison Jr., and I could potentially see it being the tackle out of Notre Dame, Joe Alt, who I'm a big fan of as well. I'll take one of those guys if it's not one of the quarterbacks, honestly, but I'm here for Jaden Daniels. That's my guy.
I would be a little upset if it's not one of the quarterbacks, but if you told me that I'm either going to get either Marvin Harrison or Alt, who's going to be a surefire tackle, and you move Evan Neal from tackle to guard, you sold me. You sold me. I would be very happy there, but I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I think Giants have been to a lot of LSU games. I know they're a big Drake May guy, but I would not be surprised if Jaden Daniels is the best guy.
That would be my pick right now, Jaden Daniels, because I don't think they're going to get the first pick. And I still think Caleb's going to go number 1. I think that the second best guy is probably Daniels. And if Daniels isn't too. He might be like the 1A because I'm really, really starting to like buy fully in on this guy. And I like May too. And I like Penix. I'm not a Bo Nix fan. I don't think he's going to be very good. He was not good at Auburn. He's having a career year this year at Oregon, though. But I don't mind Penix, but I really, really like Jaden Daniels. That is my guy.
I agree 1,000%.
Yes. So this was a fun show. We're going to try to have you back on, hopefully by the new year. And hopefully Juan Soto's a New York Yankee. Hopefully my New York Rangers are still in first place. And hopefully the Knicks are still a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference in the NBA. If not a top 6, hopefully a top 4. So it was a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you so much, Madison. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon.